A tumultuous day in Australian politics, just for a change. They have a few of them. We're joined now by Fairfax political correspondent Stephanie Peatling, who's joining us live from Canberra. Stephanie, it's lovely to have you back on Checkpoint. Are you there?
Hello there, how are you?
Yeah, good. And this is rude of me, but I'm mildly amused by this. I mean, his old man left New Zealand in 1947, for God's sake. He wasn't born here. He's born in Australia. He goes back dozens of generations, seemingly, on his mother's side. In what way should this imperil his political career?
Well, I think it's all your guys' fault.
No, it's not.
Apparently your citizenship is conferred automatically on people who have one parent who was born in New Zealand, and that is exactly what has happened to Mr. Joyce. His father, James, has been...
Wait a sec, hold on, I just want to cut in here. His father was James Joyce.
I know, it's a great name, isn't it?
not the James Joyce, obviously.
Better and better. No, not that. No, not the
right,
famous novelist, no. Although I think he was Irish, so I think
that's right.
Of difficulties.
Anyway, so his dad is James, which means that he does, as a descendant of a New Zealander, have dual citizenship. Why should this imperil his political career?
Well, because the Australian Constitution says very clearly that people who wish to be elected to Parliament are not allowed to be dual citizens. So even though Mr. Joyce's citizenship of New Zealand was never activated or enabled, or whatever verb you want to use, it was just given to him in a kind of passive way, so to speak, he is still barred by our Constitution from potentially being in Parliament. And it's a very serious situation for the government because, as you mentioned in your introduction, they have a one-seat majority in the House of Representatives. So this could potentially be extremely difficult for Malcolm Turnbull and his government.
And as we were hearing earlier in the programme, Malcolm Turnbull made great play over the Greens, the two Green senators, right, who had to stand out by saying, hey, you know, caveat emptor, or whatever the equivalent Latin phrase is, you know, they should have known. And if that's right. So he's sort of somewhat hoist by his own petard. What are the opposition politicians saying here?
Well, the opposition has gone very hardball on this. We've just finished question time a little while ago, and they basically threw the whole usual process out the window and launched into a motion about how the government is now potentially illegitimate, because how are we supposed to say that any vote that's been passed in Parliament over the past year can be taken as legitimate when potentially one of the members of that government might not have supposed to have been there in the first place?
See, so I was chuckling, but actually when you have a one-seat majority and this guy may in fact, and the Constitution's pretty unequivocal about it, that's that, no dual citizenship, he's out. Right. Unless he can win in the High Court, he's a goner. This is actually really serious, isn't it?
It's incredibly serious, and I think the government is our Attorney General is saying that they have very straightforward legal advice that says they believe he will be found to be eligible because of this issue that he was unaware of the citizenship. Now, the Constitution is not clear. Is very clear.
Very clear, yeah.
There's nothing about, you know, you had to have a passport or you had to have, you know, filled in paperwork or anything like that. It just says you cannot be a citizen of two countries. So I think what the government is hoping is that when the High Court has to consider this matter, and also a similar situation which is facing a couple of other MPs at the moment, that it will provide very clear grounds about what the interpretation of that section actually means.
Absolutely fascinating. Stephanie Peatling from Fairfax in Canberra. Thank you so much, Stephanie. In the meantime, Barnaby Joyce may want to go along to the upcoming Bledisloe Cup match and yell very loudly for the Wallabies.